Call for songs of loudest praise.
Welcome back to another study of the Psalms. This is our second lesson on Psalm 19, a beautiful psalm about revelation, providence, grace. In this lesson, we're going to be focusing on the first 6 verses of the psalm, which most definitely deal with the subjects of natural revelation and the existence of God. The overall theme of the psalm is that God has developed a relationship with man, and he has spoken to man, and man needs that relationship with God. And we have a relationship in which God can give us grace and guidance. The first 6 verses of Psalm 19, however, deal with the declaration of the creation. Read with me, if you will, Psalm 19, verses 1 through 6. We are told this is to the choir master and that it is a psalm of David. David writes, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and like a strong man runs its course with joy. Its rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat." As we look at the creation, and again, in our outline of the psalm, these first 6 verses we declared to be, or we described as the declaration of the creation. But as we look at the creation, the Bible puts forth that there are 2 areas of creation: the heavens and the earth. The earth encompasses the land and the sea and all the creatures and plants therein. The earth, therefore, is that which we live upon. The heavens, and notice that the word heavens is plural. It is plural in Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And it is plural here in Psalm 19, verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God. The heavens would encompass the sky above, that heaven in which the birds fly and the clouds are, as well as that which is beyond the sky. That would be what we in our vernacular call space, where we have the sun, the moon, the stars, planets, comets, and asteroids. And so the use of the word heavens here speaks to that aspect of the creation which is beyond or above the earth itself. And so we are looking here at the sky and that area we call space, where we have clouds, we have sun, moon, stars, and planets. And as David writes here, what we have is the heavens speaking to those who are upon the earth. The psalm focuses in these 6 verses upon the testimony of the heavens in particular and what they have to say about the Creator. Now, in our previous lesson, we talked about how in the psalm we see a natural revelation, and then we have the Word of God, the written revelation in which God is more specific, and then we have God's grace and providence in the last few verses. So in these first 6 verses, we're talking about a revelation about God from the testimony of God's own creation in the aspect of the heavens. And there are 5 things that David states in these verses, at least 5, that we can know and understand about God. They are, firstly, that there is a God. Secondly, we can understand and observe the glory of God. Thirdly, we can come to see and perceive the ability of God. Fourth, we have the wisdom and knowledge of God revealed from the creation. And then fifthly, we have the universality of God. Let's very briefly touch upon those 5 points. First of all, the heavens declare the glory of God. That is, the heavens themselves are a witness to the fact that there is a God and he is glorious. Firstly, there is a God. This is understood as the teleological argument. If there is a design, there must be a designer. And that's essentially what David is arguing here. It's a very old argument for the existence of God, that if we see a creation, there must be a creator. If there is a pattern, a logical pattern to things, then there must be one who has ordained this pattern. Sir Isaac Newton said thusly, the most elegant system, or this most elegant system of the sun, planet, and comets could not have arisen without the design and the dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. And many God-fearing scientists through the ages have made this very same argument that Newton makes and David himself makes. As we look at the creation, we can see that there's a purpose to things. There is a pattern to things. There is an organization to how everything works together. I will give you just one example of this, and it's one that I find to be fascinating, and it just speaks to me that there must be a designer because of the elegance of the design. In the sky above, we have the sun and the moon. As we look at these two objects, these two celestial bodies, to the naked eye, if we were to measure them, they are in fact approximately the same size and shape in the sky. Now, this is fascinating because as we further study these heavenly bodies, we can see that the sun is much, much, much bigger than the moon. But the earth is perfectly positioned from the sun at such a distance as to create a habitable temperature upon most of the earth. That is, the earth is neither too cold nor too hot. It's just right. And that distance from the sun makes the sun appear smaller in the sky. Now the moon, which is smaller than both the earth and the sun, is positioned at such a place in the sky as to create the tides and to sustain life through the movement of the tides. Our life here on earth is dependent upon the motion of the moon around the ocean, making the ocean move, creating that which is necessary for life. And the moon is at the exact perfect distance from the earth so as to do this. If the moon was closer, the tides would overwhelm the dry land. If the moon was further away, the tides would be insignificant and not amount to anything. And so the moon is at the perfect position in the sky. But what's really clever here is that the moon and the sun are positioned at such a distance that to the naked eye they appear the same size, and the moon can eclipse the sun. And we see this on a monthly basis where the moon covers over the sun, let's reverse that, where the sun and the shadow of the earth covers the moon, creating a timetable for the month. Moreover, the moon is so perfectly positioned that we can have a solar eclipse where the sun is blocked out from the sky. There is no other planet on Earth, or in the galaxy rather, there's no other planet in the galaxy which has this possibility of a solar eclipse, or where the shadows upon the moon can create such a timetable. They're so perfectly positioned. And thus we discern from this the the existence of God. Moreover, the heavens themselves declare not just that there is a God, but that he is glorious. The heavens declare the glory of God. As we look at the stars on a clear night, and we can see them moving above us, and we can see the moon moving through the sky, men have wonder and awe at the expanse, and yet God is so much greater than his creation. But the wonder and awe that we have from observing the heavens above us remind us of the wonder and awe of the one who ordained them. David also says the sky above proclaims his handiwork. And the word handiwork here literally means that which he has built by hand. God, so to speak, fashioned everything himself. And the heavens declare a skillful creator. We have the wonders of the clouds and the moon and the sun. And as we see them moving and we see them keeping perfect time, it is like a grand watch. And if we were to take apart an earthly watch and see all the gears moving, we would say the watchmaker is very talented. Look at the intricacies. Look at how well it keeps time. Even more so with God and his creation of the heavenly bodies, which he says in Genesis 1, he gave to us to ordain seasons and months and years. That is, that the heavens are a timepiece for us here on earth. We have the sun, which keeps time with day and night. We have the moon, which keeps time with the month. We have our movement around the sun, which keeps time as a year, and the movement of the earth left and right, so that we have seasons in the northern and southern hemispheres. All of these things God ordained, and the earth keeps such good time that we can keep time by it. And we have devised our own system with hours and minutes and whatnot, but it is the movement of the planets and the sun and the moon which were the original timepiece. And we see God's ability here. And more than that, they reveal knowledge, because these things didn't just happen by accident. The movement of the planets, stars, comets, and all else in the sky, keeping this perfect time, shows us how wise and knowledgeable God is, that he could work out the math, the distances, and all of that in an instant and bring it into being. Our God is wise and understanding, and as we think about the heavens, we can see and know that we have a wise and knowledgeable God. But then David makes one last point here about God. He says, there is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth. In days of old, certain pagans had the idea that there were gods of the sea and gods of the hills and gods of the plains and gods of the trees and gods of the weather, and they had gods for everything. Not so our Creator. He made all things, and by his will they exist. There is no country, region, territory, climate where God's handiwork cannot be observed. He is the God above all things. He is Lord not of the mountains and not of the plains, but he is Lord of the heavens and the earth. And thus all men are to be subject to this God. As we observe the creation, we can know that there is a creator. We can understand his power. We can understand his ability. He does all things well. And we understand his wisdom and knowledge. Moreover, we understand that we are his offspring, and we owe him our loyalty and our service, because he is God of everything. There is no place that the sun's heat does not shine, and there is nothing hidden from the sun, which God himself ordained. In our next lesson, we're going to talk about verses 7 through 11 and the written revelation, which tells us even more about God. Until that time, I hope that our brief meditation upon these 6 verses has been of benefit to you, has given you some things to think about. And until that time comes when we can study again, God bless you, and you have a great day.